You've been led to believe that creating the reality you desire requires a struggle, that it takes complex rituals, an iron discipline, and unshakable willpower to bend the universe to your will. But what if I told you that this is the very reason why so many feel frustrated and exhausted? What if quantum manifestation, at its core, is disarmingly simple? A simplicity so fundamental that our minds, conditioned to solve complex problems, simply overlook it. The problem isn't in your ability or your effort, it lies in not understanding the nature of the field you already inhabit. You have been trying to impose yourself upon it without realizing that it doesn't respond to pressure or force. It responds to coherence. And this is where the game changes completely. Right now, you are not just sitting in a chair in a room. You are immersed in an ocean of pure potential, a field of infinite possibilities where every version of your life, the one of abundance, the one of scarcity, the one of connection, the one of loneliness, already coexists as a frequency waiting to be tuned into. And this is where the greatest misunderstanding about creating reality lies. We've been taught to treat this field as an adversary, something to be conquered with effort, with more work, with more willpower. We try to push reality in the direction we want. But the field doesn't respond to force. It doesn't understand the language of struggle. It is a mirror that reflects with flawless precision your internal coherence, your alignment, and this attempt to push reality in the quantum world, it has a name: friction. It's the energy you generate when you repeat, "I am abundant," but your body is tensed with the fear of paying bills. It's the interference you produce when you visualize success, but an inner voice whispers that you're not good enough. It's the attempt to paint a masterpiece of peace on a canvas that is vibrating with anxiety. In the language of the field, this dissonance isn't a weak signal. It's pure interference. You're trying to tune into the frequency of your new reality, but your own force is creating so much noise that the melody never gets through. You become your own static. So, if forcing reality only generates interference, what is the alternative? What is the true mechanic behind manifestation? Forget everything you've learned about attracting or getting what you want. Manifestation isn't about pulling something from the outside into your life. It's about collapsing the version of reality where what you desire is already a done deal. It's not about changing the external world first. It's about becoming the internal signal that causes that world to resonate with you. Your job isn't to chase, it's to embody. You become the frequency, the vibration, the state of being of your chosen reality, and the quantum field, like a faithful mirror, has no choice but to reflect the image you are emitting. Think of this quantum field not just as an ocean, but as pure, formless energy, a living silence that holds the sound of every song that ever was or ever will be. In it, everything you can conceive already exists as a ripple of pure potential, the timeline where you find resounding success, and the one where you learn from failure, the vibration of the deepest abundance, and the subtle echo of lack. They are not good or bad, they simply are. They are probability waves, energetic blueprints of realities waiting for an invitation to manifest. And here is the secret that turns potential into experience. A wave does not become matter. It does not collapse from infinite possibility into your lived reality until it finds an anchor point. That anchor point needs to be a coherent observer, and that observer is you. But what is coherence? It is the absence of contradiction. It's when your internal signal stops being a strobe light of maybe, fear, hope, doubt, and becomes a constant, steady beacon. When your frequency is clean and unified, the potential reality that resonates with that frequency has no choice but to solidify into your experience. The invisible then clothes itself in matter and becomes your world. But what, exactly, makes you this beacon? And how do you consciously shape reality from this state? You do it through the three primordial tools of consciousness, the trinity of creation: your focus, your attention, and most powerful of all, your emotion. They are much more than a sculptor's hands. They are the mind, heart, and soul of the artist. Your focus is the act of choosing the block of clay. It's the decision, the intention that says, "This is what I choose to create." Your attention is the flow of life force you direct toward that choice. It's the water that keeps the clay malleable, the heat that prevents it from hardening too soon. And your emotion, emotion is the magnetic field. It is the vibrational signature that gives the final shape to the creation, drawing the substance from the field to fill the mold you have created. And it is here, in the use of these tools, that most people, without realizing it, become the dedicated architects of their own scarcity. They live in a trance of fear. They observe life through this fogged lens. And fear is a relentless and efficient creator. It doesn't eliminate lack. It amplifies it, validates it, solidifies it. Fear uses your focus to obsessively target what's missing, uses your attention to energize the scenario of loss, and uses your powerful emotion to magnetize more circumstances that justify its panic. It collapses with devastating surgical precision the exact timeline you fear the most, making it your solid, undeniable reality. This brings us to one of the deepest and most paradoxical secrets of conscious creation, a truth that short-circuits our fight to get programming. The mind, addicted to control, tells us that to have something, we must cling to it with all our might. But the energy of desperate need, of chest-tightening anxiety, is a cry of lack. It is a frequency of contraction that sends a clear signal to the field. I don't have this, and I don't trust that I will. And the field, like a perfect mirror, reflects back more scenarios that give you that exact feeling of lack. True mastery, therefore, lies not in force, but in release. This is not giving up on your desire. Never. It's giving up your anxiety about it. It's the shift from "I need this to be whole" to "I am already whole, and therefore what I desire can elegantly come to me." The moment you let go of control, when you open your hands and your heart, you create space. And it is in this vacuum of allowance and trust that the field can finally orchestrate an effortless delivery, like a river that finally finds its unobstructed path. And if you doubt this, don't just take my word for it. Close your eyes for a moment, if you can. Use your own life as the laboratory, as the final, irrefutable proof. Think of that relationship that appeared out of nowhere, just when you had genuinely made peace with your own company. That job opportunity that found you when you were absorbed and happy in another project. That brilliant idea, that solution to a problem that haunted you. which emerged not from exhaustion, but from the relaxation of a warm bath or a walk in nature. What was the common denominator in all those moments of grace? What was your state of being? You weren't forcing, you weren't hunting, calculating, clinging. You were available, open, in a state of quiet allowance. You weren't chasing life, you were dancing with it. That isn't luck. That is the mechanics of the field in its purest, most beautiful expression. It is the proof, etched into your own history, that the universe does not respond to your need, but always and only to your resonance. Before we continue, I want to extend a special invitation to strengthen this awakening. If there is a signal of recognition within you, if your soul vibrates with these words, click the subscribe button and join me on this journey. This brings us to one of the most seductive and common traps on this path, the tyranny of words. We've been taught to believe that affirmations are spells, that if we repeat the right words with the right frequency, the universe will magically bend to our will. But the quantum field doesn't speak English, Portuguese, or any other human language. It doesn't decode the syntax of your carefully crafted sentences. It speaks a single language, the oldest and most honest of all, a language that cannot be faked, the language of frequency, of energy. Your body is the true broadcasting tower, not your mouth. You can declare to the mirror, with all the conviction of your conscious mind, I am the embodiment of calm and confidence. But if, beneath that declaration, your nervous system is vibrating on high alert, if your chest is tight with anxiety and your stomach is clenched with doubt, which do you think is the dominant signal? Your words become a thin, fragile layer of paint over a fortress of fear. You are sending a fractured signal, a message where the melody and the lyrics tell opposing stories, and the field doesn't choose which part to listen to. It reads the integrated signal, the sum total of your broadcast. It isn't cruel or punitive. It is a high-fidelity mirror. It doesn't give you what you say you want. It mirrors, with absolute precision, the energy you truly are. So, if the field responds to the totality of our being and not just our whispered wishes, what is the antidote to the fractured signal? What is true alignment? What is this coherence? Alignment is the symphony that happens when the three primordial parts of you stop waging an internal civil war and start moving as one. It's the resonance that occurs when what you think, what you feel, and what you do become a single, powerful beam of intention. Thought is the architect. It draws the blueprint of the new reality. Emotion is the energy. It's the fuel that magnetizes and attracts the materials. And action is the bridge. It's what anchors the energetic vision into the physical world. When these three forces are in conflict, the mind rowing north, the heart anchored to the south, and the actions rowing in circles, the field reflects only chaos. The universe is not impressed by mental tricks. It ignores a positive thought that floats, orphaned, over an ocean of fear and doubt. It responds to the embodied signal, a truth that is not just thought of as a possibility, but felt in your bones as a certainty, a choice that is not just declared in words, but lived in your actions. It is your totality that commands reality, nothing less. And this is exactly where we understand why so many of us, even with the best intentions, feel stuck, as if we're the only person for whom this doesn't work. Why, after so many books, courses, and videos, The same painful patterns insist on repeating. The answer is that most teachings on manifestation are dangerously incomplete. They give you a treasure map, but forget to warn you that the terrain is a minefield. They are trying to fix a branch while the root of the problem remains untouched. They tell you to think positive, but they ignore the traumas, the energetic echoes of past events that are still vibrating, trapped in the tissues of your body. They encourage you to feel good, but they don't give you the tools to regulate a nervous system that, to protect you, learned to live in a chronic state of fight, flight, or freeze. They ask you to visualize success without even mentioning the self-sabotage programs and invisible loyalties running silently in your subconscious, ensuring you never stray too far from the familiar identity of who you've always been. True alignment cannot be built on a foundation of internal chaos. That is why real change isn't just a mental exercise. It is a somatic journey, one that happens in the body. It is profound as it requires us to make peace with the ghosts in our basement. It is a recalibration of your entire being. Now that we understand the fundamentals, we enter the heart of the practice. This is where theory becomes lived, and information transforms into wisdom. You've heard of the observer effect, the idea that your directed attention collapses a possibility into reality, that where focus goes, energy flows. But here is the game-changing question, the piece missing from most puzzles. Who, exactly, is observing? Think of your consciousness as a massive iceberg. You, with your rational mind, your plans, goals, and affirmations, are the visible tip above the water. Bright, sharp, but representing only 5% of the total mass. As it turns out, it's not the tip of the iceberg that sets the course in the ocean. It's the immense, powerful, and invisible mass moving beneath the surface, guiding the true direction of the currents. That is your subconscious. It holds 95% of the power, and it is the true observer most of the time. So, while you're on the surface, on the ship's deck, shouting orders to head towards the island of abundance, your subconscious programs, your fears, your family loyalties, your deeply ingrained beliefs of not being enough, are emitting a much stronger, much denser signal. They are the current itself, collapsing the reality that corresponds to them. And in the quantum game of creation, the deepest signal, the strongest current, always takes priority. And we need to be brutally honest about the primary directive of this powerful subconscious. Its number one function, inherited from millennia of evolution, is not to make you happy, prosperous, or fulfilled. It is, first and foremost, to keep you safe. And to it, safe means familiar. It has learned from every pain, every rejection, and every failure of your past, and it has written a rule book to protect you. Don't risk too much. It hurt last time. It's better to stay where you know. The unknown is dangerous. The world is not a trustworthy place. Stay on alert. And with this programming running on autopilot, it becomes the tireless architect of your reality. It will, moment by moment, collapse the timelines that prove its survival rules are correct. This is why willpower runs out. You're not fighting against bad luck. You're fighting a losing battle against your own operating system. And in the game of manifestation, when conscious intention directly conflicts with subconscious programming, the subconscious programming always wins. So, If the subconscious programming is so dominant, how do we begin to rewrite it? How do we communicate with this profound force? The answer isn't in thinking harder, it's in feeling deeper. Modern science now confirms what ancient sages have always known. The heart generates an electromagnetic field vastly more powerful than the brain's. It is not just an organ, it is the primary transmitter of your energetic signature, the great gateway to the quantum field. And herein lies the key to alignment. When your mind, brain, wants one thing, but your feeling, heart, based on past fears, transmits the opposite, you live in a state of energetic civil war. You send a fractured, incoherent signal to the universe. But when your clear thought unites with an elevated emotion felt in your chest, when the brain and heart enter coherence, your signal ceases to be noise and becomes a symphony. You become a laser of intention, sending a unified, powerful, and unmistakable message to the field. This is where the rubber meets the road. You need to stop trying to think your way into a new reality and start feeling your way into a new alignment. The most important journey is not outward, but from your head to your heart, into your body. Tune into it. Tune into your breath, using it as a sacred anchor to the present moment. Learn to regulate your nervous system, to teach it gently that it can come out of survival mode. And from this state of inner calm, begin to align your small daily choices with the energy of the person you're becoming, not the person you were. The monumental shift is this: your state of being becomes the cause, no longer the effect, of your reality. This brings us to the practice of embodiment. If you desire abundance, don't focus on the bank statement. Embody the energy of sufficiency now, feeling gratitude for the air you breathe, the water you drink. Act from the principle that there is already enough, and the field will validate this expansive frequency. If you seek love, stop searching for your other half and become your own source of wholeness. Practice unconditional self-love. Become the safe harbor you long to find in someone else, and the resonance will be inevitable. And as you practice, beware of the most subtle trap of all, the control trap. It is the symptom of the old programming. It's the voice of the subconscious that says, "I don't trust, I need to check." It's when you anchor a feeling of peace and 5 minutes later, anxiously check your phone. Every act of checking is a vote of distrust. It chains you to the timeline of trying to get, ensuring the timeline of already having remains perpetually in the future. Why? Because 95% of who you are runs on autopilot, based on old stories of "I'm not good enough" or "I have to fight for everything." These stories are self-fulfilling prophecies, and you can't argue with them. You can only reconfigure them through felt, embodied practices. So, how to begin? With micro adjustments of presence. 3 conscious breaths to tell your body you are safe, a hand on your heart to reconnect with your center, and the gateway question that collapses the new reality. In any moment of doubt, ask yourself, the version of me who already lives in this reality, how would they act, feel, and choose right now? The answer might be small. Making that call, saying that no, every small action is a vote for your new reality, a way of rewriting your programming moment by moment. And this brings us to a crucial mindset shift, the key that transforms this practice from a momentary effort into an art form. Forget the idea of a finish line, of a final destination called manifestation. The anxiety for the destination is the energy of the old programming. Quantum manifestation is not a one-time event. It is not a checklist of tricks you do to get something. It is a recalibration of the entire system. It is a living practice. Think of it less like fixing a machine and more like learning to dance. The universe is not a problem to be solved. It is a dance partner waiting for your lead. Every conscious breath you take, every aligned choice you make, isn't an item you cross off a list. It is a step in this dance. It is an act of tuning your frequency, a deliberate fine-tuning of your signal, moment by moment. It's not about reaching a state of perfection and staying there. It's about falling in love with the process of becoming. It is the continuous dance with the field, where each day you learn to move with a little more coherence, grace, and power, and a little less effort. But this dance doesn't happen in a vacuum. You practice it in the world, and your environment is constantly emitting its own frequency. This makes energetic hygiene not a luxury, but a necessity. A crucial part of the practice is becoming a conscious and, at times, ruthless curator of your field. You must design an environment that supports who you are becoming, not who you have been. You are an instrument trying to hold a clear note in the middle of an out-of-tune orchestra. Observe with honesty the voices you listen to in the media, podcasts, conversations. Do they remind you of your power or your powerlessness? The spaces you inhabit, physical and digital, do they leave you feeling expansive and inspired or contracted and drained? And most importantly, the people around you, do they celebrate your expansion, or out of fear or familiarity, do they miss the old version of you and unconsciously try to pull you back to it? Your inner work is the engine, but your environment is the wind. It can be a tailwind that propels you, or a headwind that exhausts you. Protecting your nascent signal is not selfishness, it is wisdom. Surround yourself with living reminders of your new timeline. Let the external world become an ally, not an obstacle, to your evolution. And this leads us to the final truth, the secret that frees you from the tyranny of perfection. True mastery in quantum manifestation is not reaching a state of perfect alignment and never wavering again. That is a fantasy of the mind. True mastery is the art of the return. It is your ability to notice, with increasing speed and decreasing judgment, the moment the gravity of the old identity pulls you, when your body tenses up, when doubt returns. And in that instant, the practice is not to criticize yourself. It is to show the deepest self-compassion. Mastery lies in your ability to, with radical gentleness, simply pause, take a deep breath, anchoring yourself back in the present, recalibrate, placing a hand on your heart, and remembering the frequency you have chosen, and, with calm and clear intention, choose to return to your preferred timeline. Because here is the liberating truth. There is no finish line. This is your living practice, a continuous unfolding. Your mastery is not measured by your perfection, but by the grace with which you return to your center, again and again and again. And with each return, your dance with the universe becomes more intimate, more fluid, and infinitely more beautiful. And to seal this journey we've taken together today, to transform this information into a living intention, I invite you to take the first step in this practice of recalibration. Leave a single word in the comments below, the word that represents the energy, the state of being that you choose as your compass for the coming days. Perhaps it's trust, maybe flow, allowance, courage, or peace. Don't overthink it. Just feel. What is your signal? By commenting here, you anchor it. You declare it to the field. You make it your point of return.